We're back. Welcome to Dumb Pitches. This is season 6, I think. It's going to be our last little season before the end of the year, and then we'll do the dummies. It's going to be great. I'm very excited to be back. We got lots of dumb ideas just right off the top of Matthew Broussard's head. Here we go. Dumb Pitches.
What a bunch of dumb pitches. Oh my goodness.
Welcome to another episode of Dumb Pitches with Monica Nevi. I'm Monica Nevi, your host. This is the show where we talk to successful people about their worst ideas. Very excited to be back. This is our first episode of this season, so this will take us through the end of the year. And I'm very excited that our guest today will get to be a part of this year's Dummy Awards if it's good enough, you know. So I'm excited you're here. Matthew Broussard is with us.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I'm excited. So this is how we like to start. We like to give everybody a little background on you so they know that you haven't only had bad ideas.
Okay.
Yeah. So you're a hilarious comedian. We actually just worked together in Idaho, so that was fun. You have a Comedy Central half hour. You've been on Comedy Central for other things, The Tonight Show, Conan, Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, The Mindy Project, lots of really cool things that you guys would know. And you actually have a new special coming out soon.
That's right. December 13th on YouTube.
Nice. Perfect.
Called Hyperbolic.
That's exciting. Well, we'll be sure to put that in our show notes too. But I know that all that stuff everyone's like, oh yeah, I sound cooler or I feel good about myself, but that's not why we're here. We don't want you to feel good for too long. So let's start wherever you feel comfortable. We gave you the criteria. We need some bad ideas. What did you think of?
I want kind of two related ideas. Driver's licenses, but for walking, and then potentially traffic cops, but for walking.
Okay.
To enforce that. I live in New York City. I'm constantly in airports. People straight up don't know how to walk. If people drove the way people walked, we would lose 5 million people a month to accidents. The same rules that applies. I biked a lot as a kid. The same rules that apply to every walkway. On every walkway, there is a right lane and the opposite direction left lane, and you scoot to the right unless you're passing. And people don't even know this on highways. And it'd be great if we had it there, but I no longer own a car. So yes, this is my dumb idea. It is quite totalitarian. Please don't ever give me power, because this is what I would do with it.
That's
Just
okay.
make
So
people's lives tedious and harder.
you would have to take a test to be able to walk like in public, or what? Like, what if you don't pass? What if you couldn't get your license?
Well, keep trying.
You're gonna have to come back.
I didn't invent that part of it. Yes, you have to. You could have someone piggyback carry you around, so it would be good for the economy because someone would have to carry you around. So we'd have those jobs. I mean, we have gas station attendants in New Jersey. That's a useless job. Why not have people carry you around? Certified walkers, Lyft, for walking.
Literally.
And this wouldn't apply to residential things. This is just New York City, and you'd have to apply maybe in like the more metropolitan areas or in the airports. You have to and you can take an online course. Just people having that, because if I argued with someone in public, saying you're on the wrong side, we could at least have a authority saying yes, no, we reviewed the footage and you were doing it incorrectly. This isn't a relative. This isn't a subjective thing. There actually is a place to be and a place not to be based on your speeds.
I mean, it sounds like you're creating jobs no matter what, because there's going to need some sort of, traffic cop, but for walking. And then, somebody's going to have to probably create the test itself and, facilitate or whatever. So that's another, that's a job, testing people for their driver's license, which always seems terrifying. But then you need somebody to do it for walking.
Okay. Yeah.
And the I'm just imagining like a lot of people getting piggybacks because they couldn't pass the test. Yeah. But
Oh
it
yeah.
would be, because otherwise right now you would have whoever, potentially, you'd have whoever the Lyft driver was and the person who doesn't have their license both walking on the. So if you take away the people who couldn't get their license and put them on top of the other one, you're really probably conserving some space too.
Yes, and people getting a good workout.
Yeah, it's great. It would
Great
just,
for your legs.
I mean,
Gives some load bearing. Helps with a bone density.
I'm not seeing much wrong
Cardio.
with it yet, but yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So it's a good idea. I wasn't. I
Yeah.
was right. Another idea. I think all wasabi should be purple. I don't think it should be green. It looks too much like guacamole, and that is just that's just asking for trouble.
That
So
sounds
purple,
like. Have you had this happen before? Have you accidentally?
no, but I've thought a lot about pranking people with it. That'd be a
Yeah.
very fun prank to bring a bowl of wasabi mixed with
Just a
pico to
whole
a Super Bowl
bowl.
party. And just watch what people do.
That would be
Yeah.
a pretty good. I mean, oh yeah, you get the right person too. Just being like, this is weird. This is interesting. Like,
Yeah.
just keep eating it.
Just a big heaping load on the first go. Yeah, I think that's another idea.
And then really clear out your sinuses, I would assume as well.
Very good. Yeah.
Yeah, that I'm just imagining like just some dude, because the Super Bowl party is probably a drunk guy just going over to have some chips and then just maybe not figuring it out right away. That is okay. So purple though is the color that you would go with.
Yeah, it'd be fun color.
Yeah, not too many purple.
It kind of warns you.
Yeah.
Maybe it should be red. I think red, actually. I'm going to change it to red. Like snakes and frogs. You want the brightly colored warning.
That's true. That means more danger.
Like poison dart, yeah.
That makes sense. Well, and usually other hot stuff is commonly red as well.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense.
I'm trying to think of others. I can't think of anything off the top of my head right now. What do you
That's pretty
think?
good. I mean, what do I think of? Well, the wasabi situation.
Other bad ideas. Oh,
what do I think? That's very good.
do we need more bad ideas? I have more. This one might be a good idea because I learned this kind of already exists. But a canister of mace that looks like an iPhone, and it sprays out of the picture thing. So you can be like, I'm going to take a picture of you, but you're actually you spray them with mace, so they wouldn't see it coming.
Yeah. Ooh, and
that exists with tasers already.
Really?
There's tasers that look like iPhones.
Well, that would make sense actually. But that is, so many people are filming any encounter, whether it's whatever now. So that would be, they wouldn't be expecting it, I would assume, if it comes out of the same camera spot. That's not the worst. It just seems, so wait, is it like part of your actual iPhone or is this a separate thing? It's a separate
I think it's a separate thing.
Okay. So you would have to carry around two phones then.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, but you'd also have to carry around mace either way, so it's not extra space if you're already carrying it around. Yeah. I wouldn't put it in the same cell phone. It wouldn't be part of your cell phone because then you might mace yourself taking a selfie.
I would, probably keep them separate pockets or something so that you don't accidentally try to take a call and get yourself in the ear.
Or something that looks like an iPhone that you could hand to someone if they were robbing you, but then it would explode with mace.
Okay. I don't know why I immediately was like, it would kill them. It would just explode and kill them. But that's no.
I don't mind that. I'm not
let me see your walking license, and then you hand it to him. You consider it, especially as a woman who walks around and travels alone and stuff. What we don't, I have just like a regular mace can that correctional officer gave to me, like it's there from there, so it's pretty powerful. But I don't want to take it on a plane, so I just have it at home. I'm afraid, I don't know if there was an intruder. What is that? What I'm going to use? Maybe it is by the door, but
I should try. I have a pink little one. I thought pink was the best color.
You're right. Similar to the wasabi issue, you need some sort of warning that, like, hey, this isn't a chapstick or whatever.
But if someone tried to if someone tried to attack me and I maced them, I feel like the pink would make it extra demoralizing because it's the sissiest color. So I like pink just for that aspect of it. That's why I bought pink.
And people can't quite tell, but you're a pretty tall guy too. So to be maced by a guy with a pink is like, I think you're on something there. That's really good.
A full man. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, if I mace somebody with a little pink one, that's a little, they probably anticipate because it's a girl color.
Yes.
But for you, it's not. It's even worse.
Have you used your mace before?
No. Mm-mm.
Yeah, me
And
neither.
you seem pretty disappointed by that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's my wife's dad was a correctional officer for like years and years in California, and so he would like send us. He'd be like, and every time he comes over, he's like, "You need a new one." And I'm like, "Well, I've never used any of them, but I appreciate it."
Are they
And I
like
have those.
are there like iOS updates? Why do you need new ones? Is like the technology
I
getting
think it
better?
does, probably, or I think
Okay.
they expire somehow. I don't know, but he's like, it'll still work. It's just not as like
Uh-huh.
potent, maybe, or something. And so whatever. I don't keep up on my mace expirations, so that's up to him, I guess.
Hmm.
But I suppose that's something to consider in the
That's
phone.
interesting. Going bad.
Yeah.
I know mine only sprays 10 times before it's done.
Mm.
Hmm.
Which
Also
is
did
that's still pretty
that's not
significant.
much. Though to be fair, it's not something you're going to use on a regular basis.
Yeah. Oh,
One,
hopefully.
if you get them in the face, you're good.
I was gonna
It's
say,
quite
do you
potent.
keep
Yeah.
going after?
Yeah, I think it's marginal returns
Okay.
past one good hit. I did camping for a month. I did a program called Knowles National Outdoor Leadership School, a month in the camping, backpacking through the woods with 11 other teenagers, and bears were a big part of it. You couldn't be alone without bear mace for chance you encounter a bear, and you would have to hang your food at night. So you would always have bear mace with you, whether you were alone or with a group. And it was a very real possibility that you would encounter one. And the difference between bear mace and regular mace doesn't exist. Mace is already
Mm.
strong enough. The only thing that makes bear mace is that it's a larger canister. And if you were to encounter the bear, you need to finish spraying the entire can in its face. You can't just they're so resistant. They can take bee
To
stings, so you just
good.
spray it in the face all the way, and then once that canister was discharged, it actually could potentially attract more bears because of the smell on it. So you didn't
Wow.
have to hang that in a bag off of a tree.
Did you did you ever see a bear when you were there? Did you ever use mace
Not that
on a
close.
bear?
I was in Alaska
No.
recently, and we saw one,
Mm.
a grizzly. Like a mile, maybe a mile away, pretty far away, but still pretty terrifying.
I
And we
wonder
saw
if
some very
that's
close up, but they were friendly ones.
those were things that I was like afraid of as a kid was to be attacked by a bear, but I'm not really from I mean there's bears. I'm in Washington state. There's
Mm-hmm.
bears here, but not I'm not in Alaska just out like that's like a real concern for people
Yes.
who grew up in Alaska and stuff. I'm from like a suburb of Seattle. There's if there's a bear it's in the trash and then it goes away, like that you're
Yeah.
inside. But I was like really afraid of being attacked by a bear. I must have seen some movies or something.
The ones that so what I understand the rule to be is that um, their lack of proximity to the water is what makes them dangerous. Bears
Oh.
nearer the water have ample supply, or near large, like plentiful food sources, which could even be a city, I would guess. But the ones near the salmon, near the water, we could walk up to them. We were with like a swimming pool's length away from a mom and her cubs, and they didn't care about us because they had lots of salmon to catch. Versus if you see one a mile away inland, that one has less food and sees any large mammal in its territory as a threat to its food supply. So that's like apparently that's what distinguishes grizzlies. It's not a breed thing. Grizzlies are brown bears. They're just very aggressive because they're hangry.
Mm.
Hmm.
I just learned so much, but also this whole man versus bear thing is really coming full circle here. But I feel like every time we saw one here in Washington, it was near a river, not like
Yeah.
right in it or anything, but
Hmm.
like you knew there was the Cedar Rivers in the town where I'm from, and so
Yeah.
that
I
makes
guess there's more
sense.
salmon than honey or whatever. I don't know what they eat besides salmon, but salmon sounds delicious.
Yeah,
Do you have
that's
any bad
one.
ideas?
Well, I have a new idea that I'm hoping isn't bad because we've done it, but let me pitch it to you.
Hmm.
We started a nonprofit,
Hmm.
um, which is was fine. I read everything on the state's website and the federal stuff to figure out, how to do that. It's much more difficult than a for-profit business, obviously. And the first like 20 pages of every reference thing is trying to convince you not to do it. It's like, are you sure you have enough time? Have you ever made connections before? Have you ever? And you're like, no, I've thought about this. It's called Gates Open Washington. It's a grant making foundation, just for artists to make stuff here in Washington State. One comedy specific one, and then another like general arts grant. So really, you don't have to be from here or anything. It's just if somebody wanted to film a special here or whatever, they just have to do it in the state, and they could apply, and we could give them money for it, whatever. It is. I'm really bad at delegating, I think. I think that's a major like flaw. So basically when I say we've started a nonprofit, I did everything so far. And like so whenever I'm working in Washington, I've been like doing an event, like going to a brewery beforehand and like, doing fundraising that way, but it's just me. And I don't know, like, I don't think I'm like bad at explaining it, but I do feel like people walk into this brewery and I'm like, hey, this is, if you buy a beer during this hour, $1 of it goes to us or whatever. And they're just like, I think that lady's just just here, just setting up. She didn't tell anybody she was doing this or something. It's yeah, I'm not the most organized person either. Anyways, yes,
that has good goals, that has good aims.
Okay.
And in a state where there's been great art and been great support for the arts. So this is all a thing to spur artists, to subsidize artists and bring art there for culture into the region.
Yeah, just bring more stuff back here. It's expensive here. It's, there's a lot of red tape and different things, so it can be difficult to make stuff here. So if we can alleviate some of that and get some of these projects either that maybe wouldn't have been able to be made at all actually finished, or people come to the state specifically for that. We also have like a connection guide of all the different like camera crews and studios and different things in the state that they can use, hoping that we give them the money and then they use it within the arts community here. Anyways, but then it's also like Seattle's very known for its art stuff and music and theater. But it's so expensive to live here now that I don't know if a ton of artists actually live in the city, and maybe they moved to Bellingham or Spokane or wherever, and that still counts. We still want art to be made in any corner of the state.
I have a financial idea.
Is it too stressful? Okay, yes.
OnlyFans, but for personal finances.
Okay.
So you know how like your friends will like buy something or live somewhere and you're like, how does that work? Are you making money? Are your parents paying for stuff? Are you in crippling debt? I think you could just have a website where you could pay to see fully transparent how much someone makes and spends, their credit card bills, their 1099s, their expenses, their taxes. I would pay a lot of money just to get a glance at how certain friends live. Full economic transparency.
I like this.
Okay.
And that's interesting from a personal standpoint, but now obviously I'm relating it a little bit to what we're going through of like, you've looked up a million times, how do you run a nonprofit? How do you do the tax exemption? How do you do this? Like if somebody I would pay to have somebody just be like, this is everything we put on the nonprofit. This is what we do. This is how we reimburse whatever, because it's complicated in those ways. And every super rich person has like a charity foundation for a reason, I think, like there's a lot of going on. So I want to know exactly rich people, what they're doing with their own finances, what they're doing with these other businesses or foundations that they have, and what is really going where would be really interesting.
Yeah. See, I want it not for the rich people in my life, for the people I wonder how they're living. It's more
Wait, you're like, how do you still have this apartment?
Like I'll see like an open micer wearing an Aviator Nation jacket. I'm like, how does this work?
Got it.
Because I know my tour schedule. What's that?
I like that idea too, just from because there's other comics you feel like doing the same or close to the same thing as you, and you're like, okay, well, I
circuit
don't know how much
or
this
a
is
lower
happening.
circuit. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're buying a house, so they live alone in a crazy region. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to know their spouse's income and stuff too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Are they being
And
subsidized?
yes.
Yeah. It is always fun to learn when someone who's successful has their bills paid by their parents. You're like, okay.
Right. And especially when they're like, oh, I grind all the time. I do all these shows and I'm traveling all over and stuff. And you're like, so that would be good to know. Well, and then I also,
And I find personal finance. What's that?
I want to know people's debt too. What
Yes.
choices have they made, or do they have student loans or whatever, because that makes a difference too about how they're making everything work.
Are you tight with money? Do you spend more than you make? Do you work on make more than you spend, or?
I'm usually really good about it. Pretty good at saving and stuff. We have had kind of those emergency things that you plan for in the past couple of years, so it hasn't been as fun savings wise. I will say my wife and I have different spending habits, and sometimes I have to remind her we could wait to buy some things or whatever. So that's fun. But I have way more debt than she does because she didn't go to college, so which was smart. We make the same amount of money, and I don't use my degree, obviously.
Yeah. My lady makes a lot more money, and spends more than me, but like we both spend reasonably compared to our earnings, and we're both just very fortunate on a lot of economic fronts. Education, she had, we both had scholarships and parents who were willing to foot some good, early, didn't leave college with debt, which was incredible. But she works on commission, so she has, when she like makes a deal, it can be a crazy amount of money, and she just turns into a rapper. Like if she like sells a big thing, I feel like who was it? Frank Sinatra's wife, where I was like, I keep my passport in my purse in case we want to fly to Paris after the party. Like that level of like, if she makes a big sale, she's like, we're going to Spain, cancel your weekend. I'm like, all right.
Okay.
Cool.
Yes,
yeah.
That's great. Yeah. I wish that it was more so that we also have a kid. They're expensive. So those things make a difference. But I wish, like, honestly, if both of us made just even a little bit more, we would be more comfortable and able to make those decisions, which sometimes we make anyways. Which, if you followed me on Financial OnlyFans, you'd be like, you guys should stop going to dinner or whatever. But that's part of it. That's like our biggest thing is like to reward ourselves for working hard. We go to a nice dinner or something, but that we work hard all the time. So we got to slow down.
There's this philosophy that I kind of like, because I was very meager through my 20s of like very much below my means, because I ended up in comedy and just didn't suspect it would last. I had some early flotation devices, and I'm like, well, this won't be here in a year, so let's just pretend like I'm broke. And it kind of just one thing kind of connected, and I've held on to that stability. But now I'm learning that sometimes if you spend more, you work harder. Certainly there's people listening to this podcast who probably don't need that advice. There's probably the only people who are going to internalize that are the people who shouldn't internalize that. But there is this kind of thing where if you go right now, I'm spending a lot of money like on my own like business needs. Like I hired a publicist to do podcasts, partially why I'm here. And like that spending can kind of spur more earning. And I've been finding that cycle pretty good of if you just try to minimize expenses, you'll also tend to minimize earnings, where there's some optimal level of both. And finding that there's something called FIRE, FIRE. That's like a way to live very meagerly when you're young. And a lot of people are like taking to the internet to be like, I did this and I have immense regrets because I didn't work on myself or my friendships or my relationships. And now I'm 40 with all the money I need and I'm very lonely.
Interesting. There's got to be a balance of everything. But that's I feel like that. Like I always feel like when we're spending more, I'm like, I don't know how I'm gonna afford this, and then I just do other stuff. It just makes it so. Yeah, there's maybe a balance there of you don't have to spend all of it when you're working harder.
Yeah.
But
and it does feel good to spend, for me, spending money on the business side of things. Eddie If said something. He goes, when I spend more, I make more. And he said the times in my life where I was making the most money was also when I was just pouring money into anything that could make me back money, knowing a lot of those avenues wouldn't pan out. But you have to buy a bundle of penny stocks for one to take off and fund all the others. It's a lot of how a lot of investment works, is knowing there's a lot of dead ends, but knowing that if you hit that one, and there's no possible way to predict which one's going to be the one, you just have to cast a broad net. So I like that more for myself at this moment.
I think that makes sense. And I think that would be the fun part of financial OnlyFans. You could be like, this is what he says he's doing. Now let's see what it's actually, where everything is.
And the, right. I could be full of shit. I could be completely subsidized. Yeah.
I didn't think of that, but yes.
It's just, I feel like finance is more intimate. Personal finance is more intimate than sex, is why I chose OnlyFans as
I would assume you, not me, well, maybe me a little bit, you are more honest with your partner about like intimate relationships or your feelings than you are about exactly how you're spending all your money. Because even if you share all of your, credit cards and stuff, who's going through like there would be a trust issue if you were like, I need to go through and see everything you were spending. So like when I'm on the road, if I choose to eat poorly or something, like there's nobody really checking it, you know what I mean? But then if we get to the OnlyFans and they're like, okay, what did you, because you can really get in some holes on the road with eating or whatever, like just ruin everything you're making. But so then being completely honest about that is pretty intimate.
So to counter that point, at some point I added my credit card to my fiance's phone so she can use it. It's my business expense credit card. So if she's doing anything related to my comedy, if she's traveling to come open for me or buying anything, we do our taxes together. So if I want to buy a laptop, if she wants to buy a laptop, I'm like, that's an expense. I'm the one who does the taxes, put it on this card. And when she added that card to her phone, she started getting notifications for every charge on that, including mine. So now we don't know how to turn it off. So when I'm on the road, she sees everything I buy and every transaction. So we do have that level of,
That's pretty, wow. Yeah. I like that you're just like, we would turn it off, but we don't know how.
We don't know how. I have another credit card that I guess I could secretly buy things on, but.
I mean, unless it's a gift for her or something, I don't know. But if you need to do that. Anyways, okay. I kind of liked all these. It's pretty fun. Tell everyone where they can find you, follow you, come see you, and when and where to find the special.
Can I pitch one more?
Yeah, of course. Sorry.
Okay. A permit for parents to give to teachers allowing corporal punishment. Because I've heard the teachers are doing, like, it's really hard now because teachers have no threat over students because young students all know you can't do anything and you can't, there's no physical retribution. There's a lot of words you can't say to me. And I want a little voucher that says, whatever you need to do to discipline my child beyond, bruises and blood, do it. I want, if I have a kid, I want them to get an education, and I believe in a slightly overbearing parental style.
Yeah, I like that. I also think that because I feel like it's gone too far. Like they can't take their phones anymore, and they can't take, there's not like really a dress code because they need to be able to express themselves. Like a lot of the rules that we had, they don't have anymore. So I agree with that. I don't know about hitting, but I've always thought too that like
they can threaten to.
Yeah, sure. How about that?
Okay,
that's fine. Like my son, no, we don't. I don't even know if he knows that like spanking and stuff was a thing. And so I've joked, which I think it's too dark, but that I don't think you should hit your kids. I don't hit my kids, but I think someone should hit their kids so that everybody knows it's possible.
Yes.
Yeah. So there you go. You'd be like,
first day in prison, beat up the biggest guy there.
Yeah, because even if the teacher never actually did anything, the kid knowing they had the permit would maybe straighten them up a little bit. Just the fear, the threat in general is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like how these are kind of coming up all of a sudden, that's good.
I'm remembering these. Yeah.
Okay.
Or you could have one kid that would be like the fall guy, where one kid is like, I'll take the hit, and like secretly makes a deal with the teacher just to make an example, make the teacher look like they'll fucking do it.
Yeah. And then, you go and tell everybody, like, don't do that because they'll actually hit you.
Yeah.
Did you hear what happened to me?
Yeah. Meanwhile, that kid's getting like paid off in pixie sticks to keep that secret. Yeah.
Yeah. That's great. Pixie sticks. Okay. Yeah. Where can people find you?
At Monday Punday on all platforms. My special is going to be at youtube.com/Monday Punday. Please follow me on YouTube. Sign up for the release date of the special, December 13th. It's my life's work. I think you'll enjoy it. Hyperbolic, December 13th, YouTube.
Heck yeah. I think you will definitely enjoy it. Give Matthew a follow. Go see him live too. Really, really, really funny. Really funny. And I'm excited to watch the special because I really do enjoy your comedy. So I'm going to have to actually watch it, which is great. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thanks for watching. And right now you can just keep watching Dumb Pitches.
You're weird.
Yes. Dumb Pitches was created and hosted by me, Monica Nevi. Recorded with Nast Studios in Seattle, Washington, and produced by Blake Burton of Nast Studios. Theme music by Michael Evans. Paid for by Nevi Ending Productions, which is just me. So please rate, review, and subscribe wherever you are listening. Join YouTube memberships now if you really want to help. youtube.com/MonicaNevi/join.